My name is Wendy Heller. I am a professor of music at Princeton University and study music of the 17th and 18th centuries. I first met Barbara Sparti at the annual meeting of the Society for 17th Century Music that was held in Danville, Kentucky. And I'd heard about Barbara for many years from my friend Irene Alm, who was our dear mutual friend who brought us together. And we immediately became very close friends. It was, I have a strong memory of being on a riverboat with her in Kentucky and first getting to know her and being so struck by her warmth and her just, her spontaneous joy and spirit, and everybody at the conference was so excited to meet her. It was the first time this group of very intimate scholars had had a chance to meet Barbara, and she immediately became part of our family almost from the start. Our friendship blossomed during the year that I spent at the American Academy in Rome as a Rome Prize winner in 2000, 2001. And that was also the year that our mutual friend, Irene Alm, tragically died of cancer. And this loss brought us even closer together. It was a loss both personally and a loss in the world of dance scholarship. And another little tiny piece of the story is that even though I don't focus specifically on dance scholarship per se, I had studied at New England Conservatory with Julia Sutton, and Julia Sutton had been one of Barbara's mentors, and I had actually danced in Julia's dance group as an undergraduate back in the 1970s at New England Conservatory. So there was this wonderful confluence of interest in Renaissance and Baroque music, my own background, having been exposed to dance scholarship. And then I went on to edit Irene's work after she died. So in so doing, I somehow became part of the world of dance scholarship.
Wonderful, thank you.
So Barbara and I worked together. I think our relationship was both about fun, about taking care of each other, and about our work. I remember many times coming to visit her and staying in her flat in Rome, and her little guest room, which we called Wendina's room, because that was Barbara's name for me, was Wendina. My Italian name was Wendina. And I remember very clearly, for instance, working closely with her when she was publishing her wonderful article on Ercole in Thebe, that I think that was early music history, if I remember. A beautiful essay, and that was one of her forays into 17th century opera, which is really the field that I've worked on. And I've just a lot of warm memories of sitting with her and proofreading and going through all of this work together. And then we would go and sit on the patio and have, you know, mozzarella and pomodori and just have these wonderful times working together and playing together at the same time. I think that was the real joy of staying at Barbara's, was being able to do both. To work in the morning, she would sit, I would sit, she would read my work, I would read her work, and then we would go to a museum. We went together to Corsica for a conference where our schedule was to do cultura in the morning and then go to the beach in the afternoon. And that was really sort of symbolized how our relationship worked, was working together and then having fun as well.
Can you remember a particular project in which you have been together, working together?
Trying to think of what that would be. Oh yes, in the spring of 2002, Barbara came to Princeton. We were having the annual meeting for the Society of 17th Century Music, and it was very sad because Irene was supposed to have been there, and of course she had died. And Barbara put together a performance with our students. And it was a Sigismondo d'India set of dances that our students performed, and she did the choreography with them. So this was this very intense moment of working together on my campus. working with our students, amateur dancers, and they just adored her. They were so happy and excited to work with her. And she created this really, really beautiful, simple and elegant choreography for our students. And it was just going into rehearsals every day and watching her work with our students was really just a really, really special joy. And I have students now who remember this fondly, who think, well, I will be on the phone and they'll say, former students I have one student who's a psychiatrist working in Boston now, and he'll say, oh, I still remember dancing with Barbara, and he could still recite the sequence of steps that she had taught them. So that was a very special gift to our students, and we all still remember her here at Princeton because it was so special.
Is there any trace of this experience, a video or something?
We don't have a video. We probably have an audio recording, and I certainly have a copy of the program. At some point, there was a poster that for the conference that all the students had signed, and we gave it to Barbara, but I think that I don't know whatever happened to that. It would be interesting to see if we could find the audio recording, because actually the very famous countertenor now, Anthony Roth Costanzo, who's singing all over the world, he was a freshman during that year, a sophomore, and he sang in that performance. So it was just sort of an interesting moment as well. But now that you mention it, I'm going to actually look and see if we can find the audio recording. I wish we had taped it. It was, pre-YouTube days. So,
yes, of course.
So many things lost. It's so frustrating. I think she did come back to Princeton another time and teach some master classes, and did a brief master class here with some of our students. But a lot of our work together, it was less that we collaborated on projects than that we read each other's work. I did write for her Festschrift, and I certainly read drafts of things that she wrote, and she read drafts of things. So it was that kind of partnership. We never co-wrote an article, but we read each other's work and discussed things at length. That was extraordinary. We traveled a lot together. We went to Santa Fe together. We went to Corsica together. We went to Capri for a weekend. I'd always wanted to go to Capri, and I said, let's go to Capri. So I took Capri for a weekend. And in the final years of her life, she was still traveling and doing everything, but there would be these moments where she would be a little bit down or a little bit not feeling as well. And I would come to visit. And I really reoriented my research for Rome specifically so I could spend time with Barbara. I hardly went to Venice during those years at all. And she would usually perk up. I would come and we would do something, and she would just, we just would have so much fun. And the very last visit, she didn't. And when she put me in the cab at the Piazza delle Rovere, that cab on my last taxi going home, she would always walk me down to meet the taxi to the airport. I knew I was never going to see her again. And I just knew that. And it was really sad. And there we go. I didn't go back to Rome for about 7 years after that, because it was just too sad to go to Rome and not have her there. I am happy to say that next year, Princeton is again going to host the Society for 17th Century Music, the first time since 2002. And we are dedicating the conference to the memory both of Barbara Sparti and Irene Alms. So that will be another special moment where Barbara's memory will be honored. So.
Very good news. Thank you. So now we are passing to the more playful part.
Okay.
I think this is the moment to be playful. And so I will spell for you the letters composing the name of Barbara. B and then Sparti, and you will tell me what you
Okay.
have in mind about that.
Okay.
So B.
Bold. Barbara is bold, energetic, fearless. So be bold. Absolutely. Give that.
S.
I would say sparkling. There was a sparkle and joyfulness to her personality that I think everybody felt. So sparkling, yes.
P.
P. Passionate. Barbara is passionate about her work, about her family, about her grandchildren, about her friends, and about art and music and dance. So passion, I think, was a driving force in Barbara's life.
A.
Amusing. Barbara could be funny. She laughed. She knew how to tell jokes. She knew how to make any dinner party that she was at more engaging and more fun.
R.
Rhythmic. Barbara cared about rhythm, and anyone who watched her coach dancers knew that rhythm, whether it was playing or singing or coaching or singing for her grandchildren, rhythm was something that took over her body, I think, in a very engaging way.
T.
I mean it terrifying in the nicest way. I think about how Barbara would walk into a busy street in Rome and stop traffic by just putting her arm out as if all the cars were terrified. And when she could command the stage and command the group that she was teaching. So terrifying, but in a good way, in a good way that women aren't always able to achieve.
And the last letter, E.
Inimitable. Barbara was original. There is nobody. She's the kind of person you're absolutely unique. Her life story is unique. Her career was unique. You know, who else is an independent scholar to do all of this writing with an undergraduate degree? Who else could have formed her dance troupe? Who else could have done what Barbara does? I think she was truly inimitable.
Thank you very much. Do you want to say something to conclude our conversation?
Well, let's see. I think just to conclude that I think Barbara was a very special person, and I think she had warm and unique relationships with all the various people in her life, and each of us could tell stories about that special dinner or that special moment, or, the times my year in Rome when I would land in her apartment upset about something or feeling frustrated about my work, or think about the way she helped me find my apartment in Florence the year I was at Itati. She just was such a good friend and an honest and forthright person. And the world was a better place because of her. And I'm really grateful to have known her. So,
thank you very much, Wendy.
Oh, you're welcome. Now I have to go have a good cry. It's hard, because it brings back so many memories.
Yes, of course. But
good memories.
Very nice to host all these emotions.
Yeah, it's at this point, it's all good memories. But when we were, my husband and I were in Rome about 2 months ago, I was there for a couple of weeks. I didn't even walk down that way, but Jack walked down by her apartment and just, took a picture of the gate for me. And, it wasn't that I was avoiding doing it, but I just, I would always go from the Ginecolos, because I was up at the Academy Road. I would sort of go down the hill that way and around by the Gesù Bambino Hospital, and then, down the stairs I never walked that way, and in the month I was in Rome, I just didn't go. Yeah, but it's nice to think about.
Okay, so I stopped the recording.
So you can, edit.